is Andrea Kane, and I'm here with you for HIT 421, Legal Aspects of Health Information. Hopefully I have met all of you before in prior classes. I look forward to having you here in spring 2021. This is the syllabus review video. If you go into Brightspace, as you will see, there is now a area that you can click called Syllabus, and this is sort of a brief excerpt of the syllabus. It has the most important points, at least according to the school and to Brightspace. And I'm going to really quick go through this with you. As you know, our class is entirely online, but that doesn't mean that we don't need to have any interaction. I'll be doing lecture videos for you, and also I'm here for you during office hours, as well as whenever we need to catch up. I'm only an email away at most times. Here's instructor information. It has my details on it, so to speak. I used to have an office in Max Clark on the Calmar campus, but they are doing a lot of renovation. So it will probably be sometime in 2022 that I get back there. So at present, I'm at home, and home for me is in Waverly. I do have Zoom office hours, though, instead of on-site office hours. They are Tuesdays from 9 to noon and Thursday evenings from 6:30 to 9:30. Those are the times that I will be on Zoom that you can depend upon. How do you get to me during those office hours? Well, let me show you. Go to Content. Click on Content. Once you are under Content, you're going to look for Course Materials. So come down here over the side. You're going to see Course Materials right here on the left. Click on that, and underneath there, you're going to see the syllabus, and this is a PDF version, and I'll come back and show you this later. The course guide, and then Zoom office hours. And then we'll talk about check your understanding answer key. You'll need that as you go through your exercises each week. But anyway, let's click on Zoom office hours and links. And this will show you. It brings up a page that has the Tuesday morning office hours, the dates that I will be available from 9 to noon. How do you reach me? What is the link and the password? You'll click on that for those, or by phone. Same thing with Thursday evening office hours. You can use this link and password and then this phone. Again, other days, times by appointment, shoot me an email. We'll find something. I'll have to email you that Zoom link. So if let's say that you want to catch up on a Wednesday afternoon and we agree to do that, I'll create a Zoom meeting for the two of us and I'll send you that link so you can use that to get in, because these links are only specific to Tuesday morning or Thursday evening. And they are different links. It's the way that Zoom works. So back to the syllabus. Now you know how to reach me and when to reach me. But again, the best way to reach me is through email. But I'm there for you during those Zoom office hours. So this is the information that I was talking about. All right, required materials. The first one is Fundamentals of Law for Health Informatics and Information Management. And I'm going to hold up the textbook because there's not a picture there. All right, let me move here. Maybe this is a better view. All right, so there's not a picture of this textbook in Brightspace, but this is what it looks like. This is your main textbook. This is what we are going to use. And then you have a case studies book that we do assignments in, and that's listed here. Please make sure you hang on to that case studies book because we'll continue to use that. I'm not sure if we're going to change editions. I think there's a new edition coming out in February. We won't change it for this class or this semester. I'm not sure about the fall yet. We'll have to wait and see. Sometimes publishers change their minds. Course information, this is all from the course guide. It's what is the course about and what are we attempting to learn through it. Grading procedures and scale, this is the typical HIT program scale. I haven't changed a thing. All I've done is plug in our points. There are 17 discussions, 32 assignments, and 14 quizzes. And I know that sounds like a lot, but we do have 17 weeks to spread it out over. So when you think 17 weeks, it's really not so bad. And here are the points that are associated with them, as well as the percentage. And you can see how that falls. Course calendar. This tells you every week what we're going to be doing. If you click on this link, it'll take you to a Google spreadsheet doc that has that information listed. But if we go to the syllabus that's under course materials to the PDF version, you can see it as well. So let's do that really quick. Click on content, and we're going to go back to course materials, and underneath course materials, there's syllabus. Remember, we were here for Zoom office hours, now we're here for syllabus. So if we click on the syllabus, it will bring up a PDF version. And if you have a home printer, you are more than welcome to print this out. It's a lot of pages, so I'm not sure I would recommend printing the whole thing out, but if you want to, go for it. But it's here for you electronically the entire semester. And it goes through again specifically what all of the objectives are, and talks about the materials, gives you the grading scale, and goes through all of these things. We'll talk about late work and all these other topics in a little bit. It pretty much repeats, but that's okay. This is what I wanted to talk to you about, this part right here, where it shows you here's the week, here is what we are going to accomplish, here are the topics. The topics are in bold that we're going to do in terms of the course guide, how we're going to fulfill those, and these are the chapters in your textbook. Here are the points, again, course objectives, unit objectives, and then our common learning outcome is always critical thinking, so you have that for all of that. And then it just goes through all the weeks and lays those out for you. Another way to see this is if you click into content. What is in that course calendar is also in content. So for instance, if we click on week 1, you can see what those objectives are. And underneath week 1, I guess I should have picked a different week. Let me pick week 11. How about that? Let's take a look at week 11. So for week 11, it'll give you the objectives. It'll tell you what we're studying. And then you'll come down here and you'll see we've got a discussion and 3 assignments. So there is that for you. All right, back to syllabus. Here we go. We finished up course calendar, so now we'll move on to the next section here in the Brightspace syllabus. All right, student course feedback and assessment. This is really, really important. Any opportunity you have for feedback or assessment, please take every opportunity to do that. Your feedback is what helps us improve, not only me as an instructor and the course, but the college itself, and we want to do that. We want to constantly becoming better. In assessments, we all get assessed. You get assessed, I get assessed, the college gets assessed, and these assessments help us understand how what we're teaching is being learned, how is it being learned and applied, and how that works. Is it getting better? Is it changing? Is it staying the same? So we need all of that feedback, and whether that's a survey or whether that's an assessment. So please understand what you do makes a huge difference, and we need to know that information. Course policies, attendance and academic engagement. This is standard to every NICC course, so I'm not going to really go over it. But your attendance, I have to take it on a weekly basis, and how I take it, because this is an online course, is did you get your work done? So if you did anything, discussion, I consider that attendance because you've engaged, you've interacted, and that's where that's at. Academic dishonesty, I'm not going to talk much about this because I'm going to trust that you in the HIT program are here with integrity and that you will act with academic honesty. So I'm not going to linger on this, but tell you how grateful I am that you are going to choose to be honest, and I am going to be able to trust you, and I'm going to give you that trust until proven otherwise, and I hope that never happens. Late work. Okay, if you've had me for a class before, you know that I hate late work. Personally, as an instructor, late work makes it very challenging for an instructor. There's constant going back and going over things and making sure nothing was missed and updating things. So as an instructor, late work is not one of my favorite things. I will say that. Now, however, having said that, I also have compassion and mercy and understand that there are times in life where things hit us from the side, knock us off our feet, that are unexpected, unplanned, and they just happen. I tell the story that when I was working on my master's degree, I had several of those events happen in my life over a 2-year period of time, and it made it incredibly challenging for me. And at one point, I fell behind in my master's program quite significantly. And my professors were very kind to me and very encouraging, and they gave me what I needed to be able to catch things up, the extra time. and not taking points away. And so I have always tried to pay that forward, especially now that I'm an instructor myself. If you have an extenuating life circumstance, reach out and email me. You don't need to share anything confidential. You can just say, hey, I've got something going on. It's really knocked me sideways. I'm going to be turning in some things late, and I will gladly work with you. Now, having said that, I'm going to point out a couple of things. The first thing is that I do not accept discussions late. I'm not going to do that. I have done that in the past, and that is even worse. I'm not doing that starting spring 2021 and going forward. Discussions, they're either on time or they're not done, and that's the end of it. And here's the reason why. The discussions take place during the week. And when you put your post in there, others are in there. They're reading and they're posting back, and you're posting back, and all of that activity and exchange of ideas is occurring. If you post late, if I were to permit that, posting late, no one sees your post. They're not able to go back and comment on it, and they're not seeing your comments on it. They could go back in and do all that, but that's a bit onerous to expect of others. So a discussion is either done during the week or it's not, and there's no chance of making that up late. But assignments and quizzes, absolutely, you can make those up late. But here's the caveat. I have to turn in grades to the registrar on Friday, May 14th. I have to. Absolutely don't have a choice in the matter. So I will accept late work up until Thursday, May 13th at 11:30 at night. I will give you the very nth degree of lateness that I can. But once 11:31 hits on May 13th, that's it. Nothing else, it's too late. So please try and get everything in on time. That's the expectation, that unless you have something that is extenuating, the expectation is that you are on time, because you will be expected to do that in the work environment. And so it's a good habit to get into, is to keep yourself on time all the time. But I did want you to know that there is mercy and kindness of a sort if something happens and you do have to turn some things in late. But also, having said that, I tend to grade on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. So meaning that the week ends Mondays at 11:30 at night. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm typically grading everything from the week before. If I don't see it there at that point, I'm going to score it a 0 to keep my grading current. That doesn't mean that when it comes in, I won't update the grade. I will. It may take me a few days to get back to it, but I will. So for instance, let's say you missed turning in an assignment. I graded as a 0 on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, but you turned it in on a Friday or Saturday. If I see it when I'm going through working those days, I'll update your grade. I'll score it and update your grade. If I don't, then I'll look for the next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday when I'm grading as a whole. And that kind of goes down a little bit further into missing work or missing assignments. And also, I want to point out that it is your responsibility to monitor your grades and make sure they reflect the work that you have completed and submitted in a timely manner. I've had students come to me and say, I thought I submitted that. If I don't have it, I'm going to mark it as 0. That's your clue that I have not received it, even if you thought you submitted it. I don't know if that was just a mix-up or something that was glitchy at the time with your internet connection, or maybe it was a bright space momentary lapse. But please be watching those. And if you thought you turned it in and you didn't, try again to submit it through Brightspace. If that doesn't work, then email it to me. And that way I can make a note when I'm scoring it off and grading it. I'll put it in the comments. I'll say, thank you for emailing me the file. And then I keep that email so that it's always there. Makeup testing kind of runs along these same lines. There is no makeup testing. You can take the test late up until May 13th at 11:30 p.m. You can take the test late. What you can't do is take the test twice. Unless there is something major going on. Remember last August we had the derecho storms and multiple people lost internet connection, all of those. Those are extenuating circumstances where I reopen the test for people, but I typically don't, and here's why. It's important for me to make sure that you understand when you got something wrong on a quiz, why you got it wrong and what the right answer is. So when you take a test, you're going to see your answer and the right answer, especially if you got it wrong. And so once you've taken a test, you've seen those answers, and it's not really fair to let you test it again after that. So it's a one and done deal when it comes to quizzes in this class. Please make sure that your connection, your wireless connection, is very stable, or use some other type of connectivity that is stable. If something happens, let me know. But again, that's really important. Another piece that goes along with this is please don't sit down to take a quiz if you don't have sufficient time. If you have 15 minutes before you need to leave for something, you're going to try and take the quiz now. Please don't do that, because what happens is when you get out of that quiz, it marks everything you haven't completed as a 0, and you will have failed the test. And I'm really not supposed to reopen tests like that under those circumstances. So again, make sure you've got enough time to take the test, and make sure you have a very reliable connection, internet connection, when you're taking quizzes. We talked about my Zoom office hours, so you know to go under course materials, under content, to find that. Any course changes or updates are usually going to be communicated by announcements in Brightspace. So when you click into your class, you're going to see this startup screen, and there's this section right here called announcements. So if there's anything that you really need to know that's changed or updated, it's going to be here in announcements. So make sure every time you look at your class in Brightspace, you're looking at those announcements, because that's where I'll put them. If it's something else, I may choose to email, but usually I don't email. Usually I put it under announcements because I want you to see it within the course. Program policies, again, we talked a little bit about how everything's due on Monday following the week of class. Classes run Tuesdays to Mondays, so that Monday at 11:30 p.m. is when pretty much everything is due. That is plugged into Brightspace. Brightspace requires me to put those dates and times in. If you have any questions, go to Brightspace first. If not, if you're still confused about Brightspace after you've looked in it, then email me, and I'll be glad to take a look and get back to you. This course is opening early. I'm opening it on January 7th to give you as much time as possible to work ahead. For those of you who love to work ahead, go for it. Discussions are all open. You can do those in advance, but just don't forget that you need to come back on a weekly basis and review your classmates' posts and make at least 2 replies to them. And I'd encourage you to read all of your classmates' posts and reply to more than 2, but 2 is the minimum. There are rubrics for most of the discussions, so make sure that you review those before you make your post so that you are sure that you've covered everything that needs to be covered. I like to use rubrics. Those of you who know me know that I usually do use rubrics. It's because it's very fair. It tells you up front, here's what I'm looking for. I'm not going to change my mind. It's consistent, and it tells you what the points and the values are. So make sure you look at those rubrics before you get started on discussions or assignments. And then again, watch out for due dates. So the syllabus review, you're watching that right now. That's awesome. There is a short 10-question quiz afterwards that needs to be completed, and that's so I can make sure that you really got something out of this video, at least the 10 most important items. Watching the lecture videos is strongly encouraged. I don't grade it. I don't make you confirm that you've watched them. I'm trusting that you are doing what is best for your learning. But I have been told that the lecture videos really do help explain and expand on the information. And I also try, as I go through the lecture videos, to tell you things that are going to be on the quiz. I'll say hint, hint, or I'll tell you, you really need to know this. Those are clues that this is the material that is going to be on your quiz. You're going to see it again. Again, assignments, some can be started early and completed at any time. All of them have specific due dates. Some are limited to the week of the assignment, and the reason for that is that we really need you to go through the information in the lecture video before you do the assignment. And so those are the ones that are limited to the week. But many of them are open from the beginning that you can do them at any time. And then there are rubrics for some of the special assignments. And then this is just lists some of them here and encourages you to go out and take a look at those. On a weekly basis, you'll have quizzes, and those open on Thursdays and close on Mondays. And the reason for that is I want you to have a chance Tuesdays and Wednesdays to really go through all the material before you dive in and take that quiz, because that quiz is a one and done deal. So I want to give you some time to encourage you to study before you just jump in and take the quiz. It's a one attempt available, time limited, graded based on correct answers only. So that is what that is. Classroom conduct, this should not come as a surprise to any of us. We are expected to be professional and respectful at all times. And I know that I can trust you to be that. We want to respect everyone's dignity, rights, worth, and freedom. So we're free to say anything. However, it has to be respectful in how it is stated and how it's received and in what we're trying to communicate. We're not always going to agree, and that's okay too. That's perfectly normal. But we want to have our discussions with civility and respect. And we don't ever want them to devolve into something personal, because that is very unprofessional and that is just plain wrong. We are not here for personal reasons. We are here for professional and courteous and respectful reasons. And we want to make sure our communication, however that is, written or verbal or video or anything, whatever we do, we want to make that respectful. So along those lines, when you're going to do your discussion post, please stop and read it at least twice before you hit the button to post it. Read it from the perspective of, if someone didn't know you whatsoever, would they find what you're posting respectful? They might not agree with it, but would they find it respectful? And that's what I ask of you. I ask those of you who then read posts and replies to not take it personally, to look at it as this person was trying to post something to argue a specific or a point from a perspective that might be different or unusual. And we want to hear what they're saying. We want to look for what is the resolution to the problem, what is the issue at hand. We don't want this to become something personal. But having said that, if it is offensive in any way, I want an email from you and I want to know about it. I do read every single discussion post and reply before I grade. I read every single one of them. So if there's ever anything offensive, I'm sure I would come across it and be able to handle that. But I would ask that you, as an individual, both when you post and when you read, that you would be thinking respect and be thinking professionally, not necessarily personally, because we're here to learn. And again, it comes back to respecting the rights, dignity, worth, and freedom of all members. So not to harp on that too much, but it's really important that we be respectful and kind to one another. We can disagree on points, and that's a good thing for us to see all aspects of whatever it is that we're discussing, but we want to do it respectfully. Class continuation during campus or center closing really doesn't apply to us. We're online, so we're always here. We have the whole week, so you don't need to worry about whether or not campus is open or closed. If you have not yet used the Learning Center, I would encourage you to reach out to them if you have a need for tutoring or help with a paper or help with a specific type of software. Reach out to them. They are a great resource and they are wonderful people and they are confidential and helpful. So please don't be shy. Reach out to the Learning Center if you have a need. Access, if there's something about the class that you're having difficulty accessing, please shoot me an email so that I can take a look at that, because I'm not always aware of what works and what doesn't. Sometimes things change. I will put in a link that works for me today, and 6 weeks from now, when we all get to it on week 6, it may not work. Something may have changed. So just shoot me an email and I'll see what I can do. Of course, copyright information's here as well as netiquette. And I think we pretty much covered this when we talked about classroom behavior, is just making sure that what we email and what we communicate and how we communicate it is respectful. Accommodations, if you have an accommodation, please be sure and reach out to me so I can make sure that we, you and I, together confidentially, make sure that your needs are met. I want to be here and be supportive and encouraging to you however I can be through this. If you do not have an accommodation and you're wondering about whether or not to pursue one, I would encourage you to reach out to Anna or Adam, depending on which campus you're closest to. They are awesome people. I've met both of them and they're really neat and very helpful, and they are eager to reach out and support you however they can. So please keep that in mind. And then, of course, here at NICC, we strongly believe in non-discrimination. We believe it is absolutely wrong to discriminate on the basis of race, color, national origin, sex, disability, age, employment status, sexual orientation, gender identity, creed, religion, actual or potential parental, family, or marital status, in any of our programs, activities, or employment practices. We want this to be a safe place for our students. We want this to be an accepting place for our students. We want this a place where anyone can come, learn, and succeed. They can chase their dreams and catch them. So that's what we're here for. Confidentiality, this is a statement that's included in all the NICC syllabi that are in these classes, and then there's a disclaimer, and I won't cover that. So I have talked long enough, but there's plenty of information here. I'm so excited. We have so much to cover. This is a very interesting class. It covers a broad spectrum of things. We will get into courts. So if you have been a fan of TV shows about court dramas, it'll be interesting to have you take a look at the real versus the film or fiction, shall we say. So that'll be fun. Anyway, I'm really glad you're here. I'm looking forward to getting to know you. Some of you I already know from prior classes, and I'm excited that you're going to be a part of this. And I'm hoping I'll have some of you for HIT 120 for pharmacology too. Anyway, take care. Reach out to me if you need anything, and we are going to have an awesome semester. All right, bye for now.